Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of the Shape podcast, where ideas take shape. Today, we joined by a client and good friend, Benjamin Levy, an incredible artist whose career has taken him from small UK exhibitions to international galleries. We've had the pleasure of working with Ben on his digital brochure and website, key parts of his strategy to showcase his work and engage with the audience. In this episode, we talk about his growth as an artist, the highs and lows of his career, and how branding, strategy, and presentation have played a big role in his success. Let's get into it, shall we?
Absolutely. We're thrilled to welcome a good friend and long-time collaborator of The Shape, the incredibly talented artist Benjamin Levy.
Hey guys, how you doing? Nice to see you both.
How are we doing, Benjamin?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks, mate. Not too bad. All good this end.
Can you believe it's been over 15 years since we first met at the gallery in West London?
No, I can't, Paul. It's been a long time, mate. It's gone quite quick. I've had 2 kids in that time. Gone grey.
It's very scary how quickly time's gone by. I was just telling Shelley last week about how we crossed paths and how our friendship has grown and evolved over the years on a professional level, but also on a personal level. You know, it's great coming around, seeing yourself and the kids you mentioned, but seeing how your work has evolved and also how you've evolved as well. So it's really exciting stuff. So it's an honor to have you on the podcast.
No, thank you. I appreciate that, mate. Thank you, and thanks for having me. I appreciate that too.
Of course. Like Paul said, he mentioned, how you both have known each other for such a long time, and I'm really excited to hear more about that journey. I mean, if I may begin, Benjamin, your work has taken you from small exhibitions to international galleries. You've had highs, challenges, and now a brand new exhibition coming up. How are you feeling about it all?
I'm excited. I'm quite excited about it. I had a strange year last year of sort of trying to figure out how I wanted to move forward with my art, and I was experimenting a lot, so it was kind of a strange year, but it's good to get back into it, and I'm really looking forward to showing with LBF. They're a really cool gallery. The people that run it are lovely, and it would be nice to see the work up, in a nice gallery for a change. I'm used to, I've been looking at it now for 4 or 5 months in the studio, so I think like most artists, you kind of get not bored of it, but it doesn't excite you until you see it back up on the walls.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Ben, over the course of the last few years, I've popped into the studio and we've had a coffee and a catch up, and the work's been ongoing. So, I mean, it'll be amazing for me to see it actually in situation. It's a very exciting time. I remember in the early projects when you were doing being mentored across at the small gallery in Westbourne Grove there. But now, as you're saying, you're thinking about a strategy. At the time, obviously, when we're all younger, we all have everything in hindsight's easier.
Yeah.
Now it's great to be working with a long-term strategy. Obviously, the team that's working with you. When I was tidying up the other week, I found some of those small brochures we first did. Do you remember the little square ones?
Yeah, I remember those brochures. Yeah, I remember that the work. It's funny how the work's come on, because it's quite, beforehand, when I first started my art, my work was very commercial. I did a lot of commission work, and I think the work back then sort of reflected that. It was kind of a weird stage in my life, because you get into art, and I wasn't educated when it came to art. I didn't go to I did. I went to university, but I couldn't afford. I'd done a year and I couldn't afford to stay for the rest of it. So I kind of was forced to give up university. So moving into art uneducated was very difficult. And I enjoyed it at first when I started, but I think the commission work sort of used to get me down a bit. It was kind of, maybe the wrong direction, and it's taken a long time actually to get to the sort of work that I'm doing now. Narrative based, and
But
yeah.
I would say, it could be like a passage of ride. Sometimes we have to go through a certain journey and a path to reach where we eventually must be, And I'm really looking forward to seeing your art in and your exhibition. And speaking of exhibitions, Paul had shown me some images from your shows in Miami. So
Yeah.
for artists starting out today,
Yeah.
How did you make that leap from smaller UK exhibitions to major galleries in the US? That's a big jump. So
Yeah.
what would you say how you did it for any smaller artist might be looking to do something similar?
Um, I think when I started out, well, for starters, I had a job when I first started working in the art game. I had a job, a full-time job, so I was doing it part-time. I was able to sort of fund art fairs and things like that, which used to bring in a little bit more money in order to fund bigger things. I was always pretty good at networking. I've got a really good network of people around me and friends around me, and always, stayed close with them.
Right.
So they sort of helped me quite a bit. And then a lot of the shows I would do in the US I'd fund them myself. So, they were a huge risk for me financially because, by then I obviously had children. So it's not just me that I've got to look after anymore. So I used to fund my own shows to sort of get a bit more,
Right.
a bit more recognition. But
Right.
it was difficult, and art is difficult. It really is. It wasn't as easy as I thought it would be. Maybe I was a little bit naive getting into it.
I don't think it was that. I wouldn't say it was naive, Ben. You touched on before. You're very good with people.
Yeah.
You're a genuine person, and you naturally attract people. I mean, the people I've met through yourself, and obviously it's a mutual thing there. We've helped each other along our paths.
Yeah.
You're very good at meeting people because you're a genuine person, and people pick up on that straight away. The things that happened in America with some of the galleries and that, there were opportunities that came to you off the cuff, not part of a bigger strategy. You had to take advantage of the time. But I think what Shelley says there, we all have a path we go on or been through, and you look back and you say, well, it was the time it wasn't pleasant or it didn't work out, but it's led you to where you are now.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't be here now without those experiences and that knowledge of certain things that went wrong have helped you get here now. And now, obviously, you've got the strategy, you've got the team around you.
Yeah.
And if this opportunity came, which you're going through now, had come up maybe 4 or 5 years ago, it probably wouldn't have worked then because you weren't in the right place.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's fascinating how people's journeys evolve at the right time.
Yeah, I agree. I think because the work has progressed so much over the last sort of 4 or 5 years, I definitely think I'm happier. I'm doing, like I said, I didn't really enjoy the commission work too much. I was kind of, my work was kind of hyper realistic, and I really didn't enjoy that either. It took away the fun in art for me, and it took away what it was all about. So I'm really happy to have progressed and moved on to this, this new style of work.
And I know you've only got a certain amount of work online at the moment because as part of that strategy, it's been taken down for this new launch.
Yeah.
I'll add a little video in the comment section, whichever platform you're listening to this on, either it's YouTube or it's on Spotify. I'll add a little video of some of the brochures we're talking about, the square brochures, the die cut ones there. I mean, the one we produced of the portrait, which is, it was a beautiful brochure with the paper, the stock, and that was amazing. So I'll try and do a short video and get that added to the link in the podcast platform, so people can have a look at that and relate to what we're talking about. No, because it was a learning curve along the way, and I still look back on those, and they're all great things to do, but they weren't part of a bigger strategy.
No, I agree. I'm happy to I'm happy to have them there because, like you said, there are parts of the first 4 or 5 years that have helped me push on to where I am now. I'm a genuine believer that mistakes, not mistakes, sorry, sometimes mistakes in my work.
Absolutely.
Probably the best way to learn, right? You learn from mistakes more than you do anything else, probably more than you do from success. So I think the first 5 or 6 years, I wouldn't say it was a mistake in all, but there are elements of that 5 years that have really, really helped me get to where I am now. Probably didn't help me as much as I'd like it to back then, but where I am now is I'm in a much happier place,
I would echo Paul's thoughts, about you being such a warm and genuine and sincere person because we've only just met and you were immediately able to, I was immediately comfortable speaking to you. That you just have this extremely nice, genuine, warm aura around you, which is wonderful. And I think that is what attracts all the people to you, in your work as well. And it reflects in your work too.
Thank you, Shelley. I appreciate that. It's something
So,
my dad always says to me. Be kind and be easy to work with, and you'll be all right in life. So it's something I've always stuck by that. Always had that in the back of my mind when I'm meeting people. Although I'm actually I'd say I'm pretty nervous around new people. I'm getting better with age. I think you become a bit less tolerant with age, so you don't care as much in your appearance or how you come across, I suppose. But yeah, I do genuinely try and be kind and helpful and easy to be around.
It
Maybe.
it comes through. It comes through in your conversations immediately. Benjamin, looking at your latest collection, how do you feel your work has evolved? I mean, if I'd like to pick your brain on what's the strategy behind this new direction, and how have you grown as an artist while preparing for this exhibition?
Um, I, I think I've just relaxed a lot more. I got terrible OCD. I've had it for years, and it affects me in a lot of ways. I have to have everything sort of perfect, or Paul will tell you if you come around my house, everything has got to be in line. The books, everything is pretty in order. And I think the past couple of years of my art in general has helped me try and move away from that neatness and that trying to be perfect. I think the hyperrealism was me,
Mm-hmm.
4 or 5 years ago, with me sitting there painting or drawing a picture or whatever I was doing at the time, and if I missed a freckle or a blemish or a bit of hair was out of place in my drawing, it'd really affect me, and you almost feel like your drawings are never finished. I'd go back
Yeah.
and I'd look at it a month later and think, oh, geez, I've missed that bit, and it was stressful. It was really stressful. Now, I've learned to move away from that. A lot of these pictures are quite loose. The paint strokes are loose. I haven't. If I feel like something isn't finished, it's a weird thing to say this, but if I feel like something isn't finished, but I like the look of it, I'll now walk away from it
Okay, wonderful.
and be happy with it. Whereas before, it would have really bugged me, and I put my work up in galleries before when we were hanging it or curating it or whatever we were doing at the time. It would really bug me. I'd look at it and I think I don't really want that there because I haven't finished that part, or even though it looks finished, I know there was something in it that weren't finished, so it would affect me like that. Whereas my work now is a lot less strenuous, and I hope that makes sense. Maybe a bit weird, but
That is amazing and such great and useful information for me on a personal level. My daughter is fairly young, but she loves to paint and draw, and she loves her art. And she has exactly this, when she's doing something. So she doesn't get a lot of time now. She's in A level, whatever. But whenever she was drawing and painting, anything which was not perfect, because she has some level of OCD herself, and
yeah,
and she would just come and say, "Can you see this? Can you?" I'm like, "I can't. I can really not see what you say." She's like, "This is ruined. This is absolutely ruined. I need to start anew." And I'm like, "Oh my God, you spent hours doing this. Just continue." She's like, "No, no, no. Can you not see this? Can you not see this?" So I hear you, and I think this is such great and useful sort of advice for
yeah.
other people.
I think you can learn a lot from your children because especially younger children, their drawing and painting is so loose, and you can tell they're just having fun. There's very few children work towards an end result, so they'll get to a point like Isla will paint a picture, and she'll get to a point where I don't know, Kate will call. She's got to come and have dinner. When she gets back to the picture, I say, "You're going to finish your picture," and she says, "Oh no, that's done now, Dad." And
Yeah.
it's a I used to look at that, you know, I used to look at Isla drawing or Florence painting or whatever it was, and it used to, you know, there's a slight bit of envy there because they're so free in what they were doing.
Right.
You know, that was something I always looked at and thought I'd love to be that free, and I'd love to be able to move away from a painting without having to worry about it. And I think the last 2 years, like I say, I think I've learned to do that. And when you come to see the work on the 3rd of April, I think you'll see that. You know, the people. There's been 3 or 4 people that have visited this studio that have come to see it, and they've all said that. They've all said the progression in the work is you know, come on tenfold, and
Amazing.
because it's a lot more loose. The work is a lot more painterly. You can see the brush strokes. You can see that, you know, the progression in where I've sort of moved on from the hyperrealism. So,
and
yeah.
I think now you've got a routine. You accept things for what they are, and it's something it happens to me at times. Well, still now, a lot of our clients are on retainers. We do regular work for them, but when you're feeling a little bit of where's the next project going to come from, when in the past you've been working on project by project, and those smaller projects, once they're finished, you're a bit nervous about when the next one was going to come from, where's the next commission going to come from.
Yeah.
And I think now that you've changed the way you're working, because of the team around you and the strategy you've got, you're a lot calmer across the board because of that. And it makes a massive difference, and it comes across in every aspect of your life. And I see that in the house when I come around for a bite to eat with you and Katie and the girls, and it comes across in your parenting as well. And the girls are only going to benefit from that, and it's amazing to see.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. It's funny, you're right. With, you know, I think I learned to express myself a lot more through my kids, which is odd, right? Because I should be teaching them that, but I think I learned to express myself through them, and also I learned. I think when you get to a certain age, obviously I'm a bit older now, so I think you are stuck in your ways, right?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, I think most people are stuck in their ways, so it gets harder to change your habits, especially your work habits, when you're that little bit older. So yeah, this collection and probably the last collection, absolutely necessary, were 2 collections that have really helped me do that. I sort of realised that you can change, and that although it's hard, you know, it's difficult to change at certain ages. It's something that's helped me do that, you know. And I think you'll see that, like in the work, when you do get to see it. I think you'll realise, Paul especially, because you're used to seeing a lot of my work in the flesh, Paul. I think you'll see it. You know, it comes out in the work for sure.
No, really looking forward to it. And on that, the exhibition, obviously it's creeping up now, about just over 2 weeks, or just under 2 weeks. You've done the work in the studio. I've seen a lot of it in there when I popped in. You mentioned that's all at the gallery now. It's all been taken there. Is that all in place and ready?
Yes, they're made. They picked it up. I'm actually going to, in the next sort of hour, I'm going to leave home just to take up the last little painting. And then everything's there. My good friend Matthew Holman, who you've met, is doing the writing, which I'm really excited about. He's, you know, a very talented guy, Matthew. So I'm excited to read that. And then, yeah, it opens on the 3rd of April, Thursday the 3rd of April. So, yeah, I've got a couple of weeks now, actually, where I'm just going to enjoy, spend a bit of time with the kids, yeah, when I can, yeah.
It's really fascinating to see how far you've come and what's next for you. So for anyone listening who wants to check out your upcoming exhibition, where can they find more details?
I'll post them on my Instagram soon, and then go from there. I think it's probably the best way. The exhibition in general, you know, focuses on status anxiety and the sacrifices we make behind closed doors in order to elevate our social status. I suppose it's more commonly known as keeping up with the Joneses, but I'm interested in sort of you know, the advert-driven side of social media and the impact that it has on the working class. You know, I feel that every other post on social media now is an advert.
Yeah.
and it's usually pushing some sort of brand or some sort of experience or some sort of celebrity that you don't need in your life. You're just sort of programmed to think that you do.
Right.
It's something that we're all extremely guilty of, I suppose. Is that there's an element of never being happy. And you get a beautiful pair of trainers, and all of a sudden another beautiful pair of trainers are coming out, and you must have it because your friend's got it or you've seen it on social media. So it's an unfortunate thing, but I need to use social media, and that's where I will post the details.
Good stuff. Well, do you want to say the handle of your Instagram account so if anyone is listening wants to have a look?
Yeah, it's Benjamin Levy Studio.
Perfect.
It's like I say, I had not a year out last year, but a year of experimenting and trying to get my head around where I wanted to go with it. So there's not as much content on there as there usually would be when I was a lot more commercial, maybe 7, 8 years ago. But it gives you a rough idea of where I'm heading and what I'm doing now. And like I say, now that I can, once the show starts, I can sort of start posting a lot more.
The printed brochure we've done in the past, Ben, we're going to share in the little video alongside this podcast.
Yeah.
Now, as you say, you're evolving. You're obviously evolving with technology. You've mentioned the Instagram page. You've mentioned your social platforms. And now we're going to start working on a digital brochure for yourself, which will include the photographs from the event. You'll be able to attach the link to this podcast. It'll take the users on a journey now and link up all your work. And that's really exciting going forward from obviously the original paper-based stuff. And it will allow you to have a more engaging message to people in that brochure. It'll link to your Instagram pages, your website. You're moving forward on every level.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm excited. And do you know what? It's made life a lot easier. The Absolutely Necessary collection is my favourite brochure you've done, in actual fact. And the funniest thing is, I built that collection to show. I was going to show in a gallery with it, and the gallery ended up being a little bit too small. So I ended up building a smaller collection of work for that gallery, and I ended up holding that collection back. So that the irony is I've not shown many people that body of work yet, but it's still sitting there, and I want to show it properly with another gallery in the next sort of year or so. But that brochure in general was my favourite. I love that, and it's extremely easy for me to send that to people via WhatsApp or email, and they get an idea of what the show will look like. So I definitely think it's the way forward, as opposed to, because not everybody can make the show. There are a lot of people that live abroad or, just extremely busy that can't get to the show. So that's a good way for people to see it. I think that was a really good idea, that.
So with regards to the show, can I just turn up at the gallery?
Anyone listening is more than welcome to come to the show. It runs from the 3rd of April to the 8th of May. I'm really excited about it. It's a really, really cool space, really cool people that run it. Good opportunity to show my work. So really happy.
And the gallery, is it the Gallery Mayfair, is it, Ben?
No, the gallery is in Fitzrovia. It is called LBF Contemporary.
Okay.
Awesome.
I will definitely be there, and I will try and bring my daughter along with me, because I'm sure she will learn so much from seeing your art. But Benjamin, it's been such a pleasure having you on the podcast and hearing about your journey and your passion, your growth, and your approach to work. Genuinely are truly inspiring.
Thank you, Shelley. I appreciate that. I look forward to meeting you in person and meeting your daughter. And have a couple of drinks.
We'll be keeping an eye out for your upcoming exhibition, and we can't wait to see what's next for you. Thank you again for joining us. And to our listeners, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to check out the links in the comments for more on Benjamin's work. And if you've enjoyed this episode, make sure to follow the Shape podcast, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, Benjamin.
Thank you, guys. You take care of yourself, yeah?